It's me yet again, part 3 of the GoPower 1200 Powertrack system installation on, of course, the 26-foot travel trailer that I call Home on Wheels. So in order to get into this, I first had to do a lot of customization of this unit. The walls in the pass-through storage bay itself are not built for what I was doing. They just aren't. They're decorative. Let's put it at that. It's a very thin veneer type material that looks nice. It is not weight bearing. So I went with a 3/4 inch birch. You ask why? Because I already had that. It's a very nice hardwood. I had a number of it from the van build. Sometimes you just make it work with what you have. The 3/4 inch worked fantastic. I went ahead and painted the entire custom cut piece, and then I was able to lay out that entire piece in the shop and work standing, which made a lot of the work much easier. And you'll see the cutaways, you'll see the work that went into it. It was a lot. As I've said multiple times, this is all stuff you can do. What I'm doing is just because it's the way that I need to do it to suit how I want it to be. There is no one right way. There are certainly wrong ways to do things. You have to look at your use, your vehicle, your rig, your trailer, and say, what makes sense? How much am I getting? Where does it all go? Look at the weight of your system. I was being very conscious to put the weight as far back towards the double axles as I could, which is one reason the batteries, not only for the sake of how big the system is, but I chose to go under the bed storage with the batteries and not in the pass-through along with the rest of the equipment. Right? I wanted to move as much of the weight back as far as possible and get it off the hitch and help distribute that weight evenly. So these are all the type of things that are going through my head when I think about the whole system itself. Electrical in general, right? I want to talk about electrical safety. You're working with a lot of different items that carry or can carry a tremendous amount of potential energy, either voltage or current. And to get electrocuted while you're building out your fun toy is not only a scary thing, but can be an extremely dangerous and life-threatening thing. Make sure that your system is shut off, right? Whenever possible, connect everything without the master power being connected to the battery, right? This is one reason why I like to have a master disconnect from the battery. So all of my load centers here, right, are controlled. This runs from the battery. Now, to protect the converter, you'll see they're massive fuse. That's a T-block fuse, a 350 amp fuse. So should too much current come out of those batteries or solar, and somehow start to run and the converter charger want to take too much power, it would blow that fuse. It would protect the systems. All right, so 2 big takeaways, right? Electrical safety. This is just across the board. Anytime you're working on your electrical system or building anything with electricity, turn off the power, unplug your batteries, turn off your fuse breakers, your circuits, whatever you can to take all power out of the system. And remember that certain things can carry latent energy. So in certain items, even after you've shut it off, there still could be a burst of energy stored, as the system bleeds that off. One of the items I think everyone should have, if you build anything yourself or do handy stuff around with electrical, is a DC voltmeter. They're not expensive. I'm not going to give you a brand to go buy. Go buy one that fits your budget. I would find one that has great reviews and use it, whatever you want to spend. I have a very normal priced one from a hardware store, and it has worked just fine for my needs. Again, I'm not an electrician, so I refrained from getting the super fancy one. It helps you not only understand what's going on with your system and troubleshoot, but it helps keep you safe, because you can test and look at wires and loads and make sure that there is, in fact, no energy running to certain things, even though you've said, oh, I shut it off. Well, let's make sure. This is the one I use. I don't even know who makes it. It's very old. It works fine. Right? You just want to be able to set it to, boom, 12 volt. And I can do basic stuff like, hey, what's the battery doing? right? Negative to negative, positive to positive, boom. There's that. Perfect. Tells me what my battery is, 13.1. Love it. Okay. This is a simple, very inexpensive house plug. So for your AC load, right? Your DC is your direct, your little lights, sometimes your DC fridge, things like that. This is for your standard plug, right? You're able to plug it in. And for instance, look what the Starlink's plugged into, right? Let's see if this does. Look at that. Boom. 2 lights. That means there is properly grounded and it is working correctly. So simple stuff to tell you, hey, is there power running and is the power correct? Both safe and super efficient. Here we are, part 3. We're going to talk solar controllers, the inverter charger, the IC3000, all the wiring, okay? We have the battery terminals coming in, the solar cables, they're connecting. We have the fuses, I went ahead with resettable fuses, and we incorporated what's called a bus bar, okay? And a distribution bar, and that makes mounting and installing something that it has so many pieces a lot more straightforward, and I think safer overall, because you're able to interact with individual components. And when you interact with like a battery terminal, you're not affecting all the connections, right? You're able to basically separate all your connections. Here we go. We're going to dive in. I'm going to crawl down into that pass-through, and you're going to see me live as I'm talking about what all the different things are and what they do. This is a great opportunity to show you where I placed everything and why. A lot of the reasons I took right is because you have to make your build fit your needs and also what you're building. So watching YouTube videos, getting inspiration is fantastic, but make sure at the end of the day, what you're building is going to suit your needs. I determined that by building this custom wall, fully painted, of course, that's to keep any mold or water or any of that down. And I just knew that the very flimsy material that is often found more for visual appeal in these rigs just wouldn't hold up to the structural need that I now had for this normally non-weight-bearing wall. Giving you a little more perspective on this build, thankfully in a bit more approachable way. It is a small crawl space here. We're going to do what we can to show you this. If we're looking right here at this final build, right, we have our master disconnect, okay? We'll start here. The power is coming out through this cut hole. The battery system, as you'll see, stored under the bed. That's really the only space that was available for this. So we have our 4-aught that is all custom cut into our master disconnect. This is going to our positive and our negative bus bar. What these do is this keeps all the terminal loads off, stacking your battery, your positive and negative terminals of your battery system, right? By the time all these different connections, sometimes you have this massive stack of connectors. It's both extremely unwieldy and hard to work with, and it's not effective. It's not really safe. It's not really suggested for multiple reasons. When you're working with large systems and a lot of cables, a bus bar system, very inexpensive, very easy way to go. Not only makes the system clean, but makes the system easy to work on. So I went ahead and added fused breakers into my solar system, and this allows me to cut the positive energy coming to the battery system from my solar controllers. You'll see. Okay, so here we have controller 1, 2, 3. They're all labeled. You'll even see they're written on the solar glands. I mentioned this up on the roof. When you're dealing with large systems, really anything to do with your build, the more that you can mark and plan, you'll even see number 2 controller, all this was mapped out, right? Cut pieces of cardboard, whatever you need to do, tape together boxes, create yourself a diagram and map this out, right? Because some of this stuff is very unwieldy and it all takes time. So the less you're going to spend messing with it, right? So here you're going to see the Romex, right? This is our 10.3 Romex, or 10.2 Romex with the ground. And this is coming out of our amazing IC3000, which acts as our transfer and load switch. So not only is it inverting and converting for us, but it is passing through the current if we plug into shore power at a campground or a generator. And this is wired directly into the RV's pre-existing AC breaker and fuse load system, okay? So all the pre-existing wires, lights, things worked. I simply took the Romex that was originally wired to be plugged out of the back of the unit, and you'll see on another video, it's behind this wall, but I wired in another cord, and there's the Romex going in, and that green, right, is your ground. Got to add a ground, be safe. And so that's that. Okay, so let's get back to the solar for a minute. So the big cables we see here, right, these are our battery cables, and the smaller is going from the roof line, running all the way down into our solar controllers. Basic overview, these are the GoPower Solar's 30 amp MPPT solar controller. The Powertrack system comes with 3 of them, as I mentioned. A point of note that I want to add for this whole series, a lot of this, you're kind of looking at this can seem really daunting. You can say, oh, I'm not used to building, this isn't what I do, I'm not handy. You can do this. You can build your own system if you want to. But I will say, you know, I've had the benefit of a lot of study. I like to get into the weeds and understand what I'm working with, understand best practices for it. Planning goes a long way in kind of anyone's ability to properly navigate this seemingly endless array of, you know, can I really do it? Take it slow. Read the instructions, for goodness sakes. You know, the whole like just wing it. It only gets you so far. And in the end, it's creating all this extra work. You got to go back and try to fix what you did in a rush, or, you know, listen to a buddy. By all means, circle up the community, watch the YouTube videos. I sure know I do. Read the instructions, understand whatever product you're working with and how it is supposed to work. And then get after it, because you can do it. All it takes is a little bit of patience and time. So here we have the RVC cabling system. And what this does, if you'll see down here, this goes to this cool little black box, which also connects into our IC inverter charger. So this is wired back as well. And this links into the batteries, which you'll see. And that lets the entire system read into its controller and kind of see everything that's going on in the system all in one screen, which is really, really beneficial. So on the right side here, the 3 solar controllers from GoPower Solar, they're actually really easy to set up. You just got to be thoughtful about connecting, right? I did sit down over, of course, a good cup of coffee and read the entire manual about understanding this RVC connection system. This all has to be hooked up in a specific order. GoPower even adds diagrams, pictures in their instruction manual, and that actually made it really easy to follow. They show the part number and then which connects to what, and that made it easier to sit down and look at it and go step by step and make sure that I connect everything in the right order. The system has been really fantastic, and by having multiple controllers, right, I'm able to optimize the sun input from the different panels as the sun moves across. Okay, this is wrapping up part 3 of our GoPower 1200 solar installation video series. Hopefully, throughout this series, you've been able to put together your own thoughts about how you can take this information and what I did for my build and how you can use it for your build. Safety, I really wanted to add the safety piece. It's something that means a lot to me. If we are thoughtful about what we're doing, if we take a little extra time, we try to read the manuals. I know a lot of manuals can kind of be their own adventure going through manuals, but be thoughtful about kind of that first step, right? Planning, thinking about what do we want this whole system or this whole build or whatever this project we're taking on, what do we want to accomplish with it? Where is it going to go? How much does it weigh? What other factors should we consider? And of course, safety. So thank you for listening to me drone on and on about things that I really enjoy, and I enjoy sharing them with you. So flame me in the comments for something I misspoke. tell me what you want to hear more of, and I'll look forward to that. We have a part 4 that is coming at some point. It's putting it all together. Now that we've installed everything, I've showed you how I've done it. I've told you about how I think about the things I build. What am I actually doing with it? What does a day in the life of me living on the road full time actually look like? So I want to give you a snippet into some of my travels and what this looks like for me on the road. Stay tuned for that. It is in the works. It should be coming out, I'm going to hope, in the next month or so. In the meantime, what I'm going to try to do is do some YouTube shorts, which is new for me. There is so much more content I could have shared in this, but I did not want this piece to turn into 45 minutes, which it would have if I had done things like show you how certain tools work, how to make certain wiring connections. So hopefully I have balanced knowledge sharing in this episode with some hands-on look at some of the different applications with all the different components of this system. And hopefully that all makes sense as you move forward with yours. But do look for kind of the quick hits on, I will cover very specific things, one specific piece, or things like I added a 30 amp shore power connector that I mentioned. And that's where I plug my generator in, right? The standard one for this trailer was out the back. I rewired it with the 10-2 Romex, and I cut a new hole in the side of the trailer where I wanted it. I've got to show you that, along with other things in the trailer, like replacing a broken skylight. Who knows how that happened, right? So this is going to wrap up part 1. We saw the solar panels themselves going on the roof, all the different considerations about that. Part 2, all things batteries. The batteries themselves, where I put them, how I think about that, and the amazing technology that is wrapped up in the Advanced Lithium Batteries, the 300 amp batteries from GoPower. The final piece, here we are winding it down, all things controllers, the solar controllers, the inverter charger, with the really smart load sharing. So basically it's also a transfer switch. So if I'm in shore power, or if I'm plugged to my generator, be it a smaller one or a 30 amp larger one, it will take, I can set all those parameters, if it's 15 amp, 30 amp, anything in between, 50 amp, and I can tell the system, that IC3000, how much power to be drawing from that connection, right? A standard 15 amp wall plug coming out of your garage is not going to be able to handle you wanting to run a 30 amp travel trailer. So that unit, the IC3000, is also going to do all of that really technical interpretation for you. And all of that can be set, of course, in our Powertrack screen, which we know is kind of the brains of this whole operation. So I'm going to try to put together more quick hits, talking about very specific things in greater detail, because there's just so much information to share. I did not want each of these videos to be an hour long. Thank you for watching. Look forward to more.